I'm Meredith Aldis. Thanks for joining this edition of the Fox 7 Austin Crime Watch digital exclusive. I'll be highlighting my Crime Watch series as well as giving you a look at some other crime stories that have recently made headlines in our area. Cedar Park police are investigating the death of a man who was shot. They say the man accused of pulling the trigger later took his own life. I spoke to a woman who says she's lived in the neighborhood for 24 years and had never experienced anything like this before.
It was like a movie.
Stephanie says Sunday night she went to the grocery store down the street.
My husband was calling and said, there's a bunch of sirens, I don't know what's going on. And they sound like they're close. And then he called back and said, they're on our street. Something's going on our street.
When she pulled into her subdivision,
a cop came up to my car and I was like, can I get to my house? And he's like, no, not right now. And so I had to wait.
She was told there'd been a shooting.
There was helicopters and drones flying, so it was just a lot of activity. Unbelievable.
Cedar Park police say at around 8:15 at night, officers arrived at a home on Stapleford Drive and heard gunshots coming from inside. Family members ran out. Police say inside the home was a man who had been shot dead. The man responsible had taken off.
There were SWAT guys on the back of a truck. They were laying on the bed of the truck. The truck was driving through the neighborhood with their rifles, like they were searching for the suspect, I guess. I don't know.
Cedar Park police say at around 11:30, the suspect was found dead in a nearby field with what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
I hope the wife, it was the wife that was being interviewed in my yard. I hope she's okay, as best as she can be. But, sending her good thoughts and prayers.
Austin police have arrested a woman accused of several car break-ins on Mount Bunnell. Armney White is charged with organized crime. On January 31st, officers encountered White after getting a call about someone pulling on door handles in a parking lot at Covert Park. Police say after searching a vehicle associated with White, they found the bank cards of a victim, a screwdriver, cash, meth, and fentanyl. They also found gift cards believed to have been bought with stolen credit cards. During a pat-down of White, they found a window punch tool and keys to the vehicle containing the illicit items. Police say White's Honda Accord has been identified in several other vehicle incidents at other parks. White also faces a charge of failure to identify after officers say she gave them a false name. Austin police are investigating the theft of nearly $70,000 worth of music equipment. More than 20 guitars were stolen from the music studio in East Austin. Fox 7 Austin's Tan Radford tells us more.
It feels violating. It feels just kind of makes me sick that people would, steal from especially artists and creative people.
Musicians headed to work on their craft at Paradise Lunch Music Studio walked into a crime scene on January 27th.
All of the guitars were stolen, so close to 20 guitars. The doors had been broken down.
Jeff Klein says nearly $70,000 of music equipment was stolen. The items belonged to 3 different musicians. He was one of the 3.
It feels like it was premeditated to some extent, not that we know the situation, but it's a lot of bulk to move out of a house and under the cover of night. We were just all shocked at the mass amount of stuff that was taken.
Klein says when the thieves forced entry, the music studio had been in the process of updating the alarm system.
That was totally just torn apart, pulled out, the battery disconnected, just everything torn out. And they broke through all the walls, not the walls, broke through the doors and stole all the guitars and just left it open.
The musicians reported the burglary to the Austin Police Department and began searching for online listings and contacting pawn shops. APD says they have entered the guitar serial numbers into the system, and detectives will be alerted if any of the stolen items were to be sold to a pawn shop.
It's all pretty unique equipment because we've been doing this for a long time.
Jeff Klein says the guitars are also very sentimental to the musicians.
Some of them we got from parents that are no longer with us. Some of them we've bought throughout our touring career along the way. Some of these we've made important records to ourselves and other people with on them. We just want our stuff back.
Tan Radford, Fox 7 Austin News.
The Travis County Sheriff's Office has secured its first murder warrant for a fentanyl-related death. 21-year-old No Ariano Perez was booked into the Travis County Jail last September on unrelated charges. Detectives say he was the drug dealer involved in the death of 22-year-old Raimundo Silva Jr. The victim died at a home in Pflugerville in August. Ariano Perez remains in custody on a first-degree murder charge. Texas DPS is reporting the arrests of two of the state's most wanted fugitives. Authorities have arrested 23-year-old Jordan Joe and 47-year-old Marcus Alonzo. Joe was wanted for the murder of a tow truck driver last July. He was arrested and is being held on $100,000 bond. Alonzo is accused of failure to comply with the sex offender registry. A warrant was issued for his arrest out of Dallas County in February of 2023. U.S. Marshals, with the help of DPS officers, arrested him on January 18th. DPS says Crime Stoppers rewards will be paid for both arrests. The Austin Police Department is trying to find more young girls who may have been sexually assaulted by a 20-year-old man. APD has already identified 3 victims and says there could be others. The suspect is currently facing 6 charges, 4 in Travis County and 2 in Hays County. Those charges include sexual assault of child and child trafficking. There's more details on the investigation.
The Austin Police Department Child Abuse Unit has arrested Keyshawn French Burton
for being a serial child rapist. Austin police have identified at least 3 victims. Their ages range between 12 and 17.
He misrepresented his age to the survivors and presented himself as someone younger than he actually was.
Court documents say French Burton told his victims he was 16. In reality, he's 20.
Mr. French Burton used a variety of names and different social media handles to contact his victims.
Investigators say he went by the names Leander and Leon and used Instagram, Snapchat, and Roblox to talk with young girls. Arrest affidavits reveal he would then meet up with them, even picking them up from school, and would have sex with them in his car and at his home.
Austin Public Health is actively coordinating efforts with APD to provide contact tracing for any sexually transmitted infections that may have resulted from this suspect's actions. STIs are a serious public health concern and early detection is critical.
Detective Honecker says there may be more victims.
In going through the various social media, there was identification of several other underage juveniles that Mr. French Burton was communicating with as well, and hence this press conference and asking for the public's assistance in attempting to identify those people.
A man is going to prison for the shooting of 2 people in Elgin. 44-year-old Abel Bermudez Ornelas was convicted in January for the double murder. In April of 2022, Travis County deputies found 2 people dead inside an SUV along FM 1100 in Elgin. The victims were later identified as 44-year-old Raul Molina Hernandez and 31-year-old Lionel Ayala Gamino. The killer was sentenced to 60 years for each count of murder. Now to an update on a murder case from last November. Austin police say all 5 men that were arrested for the shooting death of Xavier Jones were out on bond at the time of the murder. Spoke to community leaders who are outraged and calling for reform. 6 people are now behind bars facing capital murder charges. Austin police say John Willard was the planner and leader of the operation. They say he wanted to rob Xavier Jones for his money and a watch. But Willard was on a court-ordered GPS tracking device, so he brought up the idea to his known gang associates, Judaron Forbes, Lawrence Jones, Corey Keyser, and Cameron Perkins. Investigators say they started 2 weeks of planning, including conducting surveillance on Xavier Jones's home and at least 1 failed attempt. On the night of November 25th, police say Lawrence Jones's girlfriend, Rihanna Farillas, drove at least 3 of them to Xavier Jones's home. When they got there, investigators say the men shot through the sliding glass door, hitting Xavier Jones. Then one of the men held a gun to Xavier Jones's girlfriend's head, another pointed a gun at her child, and another took money and a watch, off Xavier Jones's wrist. He was later pronounced dead. Surveillance, cell phone, social media, and even a court-appointed GPS tracking device connected the suspects to the murder. They're known to Austin police as documented gang members, and 4 previous violent cases showing the men work together.
Gangs exist for the purpose of terrorizing communities, of committing crimes with impunity, and of operating outside the law. So, I wish this district attorney would take gang activity seriously. That'd be a great place to start. If you just took gang members off the streets by convicting them when they commit a crime, which is what they do, you would have our crime rate go down considerably, because a huge percentage of the crime that's occurring in Austin right now and across Travis County is habitual offenders.
During the incident, all 5 men were out on bond.
It's devastating for crime victims to be victimized in the first place. It then compounds that devastation when they learn, generally later, that the person that committed the crime never should have been free to commit the crime in the first place.
Fayette County Sheriff's deputies are looking for a thief who stole a barbecue pit trailer from a church. This is a photo of the stolen barbecue. It was taken a month ago from St. James Missionary Baptist Church in Plum. The church uses it often during social gatherings and celebrations. If you know anything, call the Fayette County Sheriff's Office. Human trafficking is a crime that impacts more than 25 million people each year, including here in Austin. Here's my conversation with a survivor who's sharing her story to bring awareness about the prevalence of the crime.
It's hard to accept the fact that it happened.
Sarah is a survivor.
Definitely got into a lot of risky behaviors that I engaged in as a youth, just as a way of coping from trauma and just the life that I was living.
That's when she was introduced to her trafficker.
They had me hooked because I was already using. So they had something that I wanted, right? And something that in my teenage brain thought is what I needed, right? To escape reality of what my life was like at home.
Eventually, she was removed from her home and moved into a center for girls.
It took a community of people to see the restoration and the healing happen.
Is it fair to say you wish you had a you now back then?
Yes. It would have been so helpful.
Sarah now works at Unbound Now, a nonprofit that supports survivors and provides resources to communities to fight human trafficking.
If it's helping youth find their way and actually get the help and support that they need so that they don't get exploited and trafficked, is probably one of the best feelings.
She says she now knows the signs and encourages others to look for them too.
It's not just an over there issue, but it happens here.
It affects over 27 million people every year, and it is a $150 billion industry.
Trafficking happens right here in our community.
Unbound Now helped almost 200 survivors in the Austin area last year.
We will have law enforcement that we work with, all agencies, local, federal, state, and then we also have nonprofits that are working with us because we got to collaborate with all the different nonprofits who are working in this, and then of course the prosecutorial teams who are helping us bring justice to the survivor.
Governor Abbott says there may be even more youth survivors after about 300,000 children came across the border during the Biden-Harris administration.
It's almost criminal what Joe Biden did, allowing all these children to come in and then losing them, putting those children at risk. Who knows how many of those children were child sex trafficked or harmed in some other way. And you got to hand it to the Trump administration for quickly locating them, identifying them, and work to ensure their safety.
Some of the warning signs of minor and adult sex trafficking include visible injuries, failure to make eye contact, fake or no identification, and claims of a boyfriend or girlfriend relationship with an older individual. Warning signs of labor trafficking include excessive working or unusual hours, is transported to and from work by the employer, and appears malnourished.
we can all get educated on the problem so that we can learn the indicators and then properly report to one of the tip lines.
Numbers and resources are listed on our website, fox7austin.com. Make sure to check out my Crime Watch stories each Monday on Fox 7 Austin News at 9. You can also watch on our Fox Local mobile and connected TV apps. They're free to download. You can watch on your phone as well as multiple platforms like Roku and Apple TV. Thank you for watching this edition of the Fox 7 Austin Crime Watch digital exclusive. Don't forget to subscribe to Fox 7 Austin YouTube channel and check out all the rest of our content on our website, fox7austin.com.